I am Leslie Michelle Dunlap, and I am the lead pastor at Grace Lutheran Church in Abilene, Texas. And I was ordained in September of 2018. When I was originally called, I was medically retired from the Air Force, and I was at home, not doing much of anything except taking care of my parents. And I was talked to about going to Parish Lay Ministry. And so I went through Parish Lay Ministry Academy. I was told, you have all the time in the world to read. And so I did and thought, okay, that's good. I'm good with that. I did some pulpit supply and I enjoyed getting the knowledge and thought, okay, you're welcome, God. I listened to you that time. And then I was reminded over and over, night after night, that I wasn't done yet. And he placed me at Grace Abilene, and they were in need of a pastor. And they were in agreement with seeing me through the team program. So I went through the team program, and it's been a joy. It's been terrifying. But I think I'm right where I need to be. I get to sleep at night again. He doesn't talk to me all night.
I'm Norma Cooper, and I've been serving at a number of different places the last 18 years at Holy Trinity in Irving, Texas. And I was ordained in 1987. I'm about 2 weeks short of 32 years of ordination. I guess began in my late 20s when I was in that hippie frame of mind of not trusting anybody over 30, which now at the age of 73 is humorous. Yeah. But I was a Christmas and Easter Christian, and one Christmas I sat down in a pew and this thought came into my head, you will be a pastor. And my response was, oh, I'm real religious tonight. And then a couple years later, the thought came again, and I thought maybe this is something serious God is talking about, if this is God talking. And I simply thought in reply, Lord, if you want me to be a pastor, you have got to do some changing in me. Because at that point in my life, I was one very angry person. And I just said in thought to the Lord, you need to change me or I will tear a church apart. And the Lord answered that prayer through therapy and experience, and over a period of time, anger began to be understood and began to cease. And then there was an evening that I was sitting in the You Have Arrived Now 2-story all brick house on the cul-de-sac, and I was reading Agatha Christie and suddenly became aware of the presence of the Lord in a way that just stopped me in my tracks, and tears began flowing, and I thought to the Lord, why do you come to me? And the feeling, the sense of reply back was, you now know how to love. Go out there and love them. And that's when I took it seriously.
My name is Doris Dupree Harris. Serve St. John's Lutheran Church in Dallas, southeast Dallas. We're located in the southern sector between 45 and 35. I have been ordained now as of August for 29 years. And I graduated from the Lutheran Seminary of the Southwest when it had an MDiv program. I got involved in the Lutheran Church in Dallas. It was an outreach ministry, developmental site. And from there, I got involved in doing lay ministry in the Bryan College Station area. And some things went on, and I kept saying that I need to have pastors down here. And as I spoke with the bishop at the time in that area, he kind of said, well, what about you? And I'm like looking around, trying to figure out who he's talking to, because ministry was not on my radar. My former life, I've been involved in education, specifically with children with special needs from birth to 3. But I think the experience for me is like, why do you keep fussing about what they need? How are you going to be part of the solution? And I didn't like hearing that, because I didn't want to be part of the solution in terms of being clergy or being a pastor. But God has a funny way of making sure you have to keep dealing with it. And as I kept working on what does it mean to be a pastor, because I hadn't been Lutheran that long, but there was something about the Lutheran Church and Lutheran theology that just was liberating to me. And I wanted others to experience that. So if I was going to be a vessel, if I was going to be an instrument of that, I guess that's what God called me to do.
So I am Pastor Chris Totsky. I am the Bishop's Associate for the Northern Texas, Northern Louisiana Synod. And I serve here at Briarwood and all over Northern Texas and Northern Louisiana Synod. I was ordained in 1992 and have served actually in 3 different synods. I had been a camp counselor at Imago Dei Village in Wisconsin for many years. I had a feeling that I really should be thinking about going into ministry. I was teaching elementary school, and my pastors at the church where I was a member kept pushing me. I was very involved in the church. I was working with the youth group. I was spending as much time at church as I was at work. And both of my pastors were pushing me to go to seminary, and I said, well, that's their job. They're supposed to do that. So I did go and explore some seminaries, and I thought about it, and I filled out the application for Luther Northwestern, and I had it in an envelope sealed and ready to go to the post office just to pay the postage and mail it. And I thought, well, let's just put it in the drawer and think about this another day or so. And 2 years later, I started having kids from the high school group saying, are you going to be a pastor someday? And then I decided it was time to listen to it. But I did resist it because I didn't like the expectations that I thought came along with it. And I didn't like the fact that here I was, a single woman who probably would really blow any chances of getting married and having kids by going to seminary, because that doesn't exactly make you a guy magnet. And all of those kinds of things about expectations and roles that I did not want. But eventually I realized I couldn't keep running away from it. And I, at the time was dating a guy who couldn't figure out what he wanted to do when he grew up. And I kept saying, you won't know until you try. You won't know until you try. And one of the times when I said it, I thought, are you talking to him or yourself? And I realized I was talking to myself. So I dumped him and went to seminary.